So Marie, one of the challenges that I've been having lately in the urgent care, I've been seeing numerous patients coming in that shouldn't be there. They don't need to be there. They're very sick. They're there. Most of them have the flu. And my thoughts are that if we were able to help them know how to take care of themselves, they could stay home in the comfort of their own home and not wait 2-3 hours in an urgent care.
Well, what are they asking of you? Like they want a quick fix of some sort, and that's why they're there?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, so think about how everybody is programmed in society, right? Everything is a quick fix. Down to our website, you have 3 seconds to get somebody to catch your drift on your website, or they're not going to go. So everything has to do with, I want it yesterday. I mean, I've experienced a lot of patients over time. They'll come in the week before and we'll have a nice conversation and everything else. And then the next week they come in and they go, oh my God, I have a sinus infection. I've had it for 4 weeks. I've tried the alternative. I tried this. I just went to the doctors and I got antibiotics. The week before they did not have a sinus infection. They didn't even have a cold. Because our brain is so programmed that we have no concept of time anymore or healing. And we don't even realize that things take time. You know, our food comes out so quick. Everything comes in the mail so quick. You know, everything's produced on demand that we think our illnesses are going to heal on demand. They do not. You know, I've had people with broken arms. Why is it taking so long? I go, it's been 2 weeks. You know? So we've forgotten that the body has a cycle, and the average virus is 7 to 15 days. People don't have time for that. They don't have time for that. So now they think, because you see the drug commercials, you hear about take this with more elderberry, take more this, take more that. But they think the minute they take it, everything should be gone. But the body is the body. And what we have to come back to doing is listening to our bodies, because the stress you're putting yourself under by not taking the time out. So the mind-body approach from that would be, why am I sick? You know, why is my immune system weakened? And then you look at your nutrition, you look at your stress, you look at your lifestyle, you look at what environment you're in, all those different aspects to find out why you're sick, not I'm sick, I want it gone. Right? So it's more about, we have to get back into our bodies and realize what our body needs, because I see it all the time and people are extremely impatient. They sprain an ankle and it's been too long. You know, and medicine has done that to some degree. You know, 6 weeks. You know, they tell you after a belly surgery, 4 weeks, you can go back to doing what you're doing, but that scar tissue is still creating up to a year later. And you have limitations in your movement, and anything you overstress because they said you're good, you're still creating dysfunction in your body because you stopped listening to your body and what it needs.
I see that a lot with postpartum moms, just eager to get back into everything.
Because we put a time frame on everything. There is no time frame in healing. And the more you can see that, the more you're going to heal and start reversing the damage over time instead of accumulating the damage over time.
And when you said elderberry syrup, it made me think it's true in all settings, because even, you know, that's the urgent care, but even in, you know, a naturopathic office, people come in with viral illnesses, and it's like, here's your antiviral herbs, here's your elderberry, you know, their mushrooms and everything. So it's the same mentality.
It's exactly the same, but nobody says to the patient, it takes time.
What's your stress level like?
It takes time, and what do you need to do to make that happen? Because nobody, you know, and people used to say to me, well, how long did it take you to heal? And I said, I'm on year 27 right now. What do you mean 27 years? I said, well, I was disabled on my right side. I had multiple belly surgeries and knee injuries, severe asthma, chronic illnesses, and everything else. And every day for 27 years, I've gotten better.
And I think when you live in an environment that's not conducive to healing, it's hard.
But every day for 27 years, I've gotten better. So what if I never started? And what if I gave it only 4 weeks? Right? I would have maxed at 4 weeks, and that's what I had.
And you would have called it.
Right? There is no timeline. And for me, there wasn't an option, and I was already disabled, and my life was already going down that path. So whenever I got better every day, I realized everything I kept learning about myself and everything that kept showing me up was bringing me to a wider path of healing, to where I am now, even sitting here, versus 4 weeks and it should be done. And it's an inconvenience to my life otherwise. It would be a huge inconvenience to my life had I not stayed on the path.
Yeah.
And I had to realize when I was on the path that, sure, I got a little better physically. My arm wasn't as rigid, you know, and the paralyzed muscles were getting better. But then I realized my stress levels were causing it. Right. Then I realized my nutrition. Then I realized not understanding, you know, the weaknesses from my genetics, the weaknesses from... you know, all those different things that all had to come into play.
Yeah.
Does that mean you have to be 24 hours on you? No, it just means you have to be in your body and aware.
Yeah.
In your body and aware.
Yeah. And it sounds like the whole choose your hard, right? Choose your hard. It's doing that hard work, those modifiable lifestyle factors, or the hard
and you
work
can
of being
do a
disabled.
little bit of time into it every day. It doesn't have to overconsume your life. People think, you want me to do this in a day? But how many hours do you have in a day?
Yeah, yeah.
Right? And if you don't take time to check in.
So what do you do when you say you get the flu? What do you do?
What do I do? The first thing I do is I start policing my energy and clear my energy. Because if I get sick, it means I wasn't paying attention. Because I police my energy every day working with clients on an energetic level. And if you're vulnerable and you're stressed and you're weak, you're not minding the store. And things will get in and take you down.
Yeah.
So it's more about, I would police my energy, and then I would ask myself, where were the holes in my lifestyle that would have caused me to get the flu?
Yeah.
And usually I can find them, and usually I know the stress that took me down, because it's very unlikely that I go down, but when I go down hard.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't paying attention.
Yeah.
And 9 times out of 10, it's usually I'm stressed.
Yeah. I'd say the same thing for me. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think one of the first things for me is kind of clearing the schedule. I don't know if that's like policing your energies. For me, it's kind of clearing the schedule.
And I take the time that I need. I double down on my nutrition. You know, I make sure that I'm doing a lot of bone broth and things like that, because I won't go without eating. I'm not a big fan of that. People say I don't feel good, I don't want to eat. I'm not into any type of calorie deprivation at all, because if you're not fueling your systems and giving them the adequate energy they need to function, you're in a deficit.
Yeah.
So for me, it's more, if it's, I mean, it was always bone broth and things like that.
Yeah. Easily digestible foods. So you're not taxing your body, but you're still
getting
the
nutrients it needs to fight the illness.
Yeah.
And staying away from any type of simple carbohydrates, you know, alcohol, any of those types of things that can really breed things in your body. There
was a dad in the urgent care. His son was 5 years old. He had flu A about 4 weeks ago. Then he was treated for pneumonia. Last night he came in, he tested positive for flu B.
Oh.
And the dad, to bribe him into getting me doing the swab, he says, you'll pick out a little cake at Market Basket. And I'm just thinking, like, I understand as a parent, yes, we need to have our kids do these things, but to, like, the sugar when you're sick like that, to just...
But most people don't understand
that. They
really don't understand that the simple sugars will breed more viral, more bacterial, more everything in your system. Because there's not been a study in front of people, and the medicine models say that. It gets very difficult for people to think that can be a thing. I just challenge people to, if you have a cold, eat it. And if you're more stuffy after you ate it, because I can guarantee you're gonna be more stuffy after you ate it.
Feel worse.
So let your body tell you, not the studies. Don't make it that your doctor has to tell you. Don't make it that your practitioner has to tell you. Listen to your body. It will tell you. You're not feeling as great because you just did that. Because it never lies.
So stress, nutrition, these are the things that can make us more vulnerable to illness or help us through illness.
Lack of exercise can make us more vulnerable. Because if you're not walking on a regular basis in some type of movement, with all these people that are desk bound now, your systems are not, your lymph system isn't draining, your organs aren't detoxing, you're not sweating out anything. It's really important.
Stagnant.
Your blood needs to flow, the heart needs to pump, and that can really tax your immune system. People don't realize that. that we're designed to move.
Right, right.
And if we're not moving, we're getting stagnant.
Yeah, and all these pneumonias that are happening, right? We have to expand our lungs. We have to open those airways up.
Yep.
Yeah.
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 The whole part of interval training years ago, when I was going to school for exercise phys, is not like it is now. It would be, you'd be doing cardio and then you do 15 and 20-second bursts. And that would bring your immune system up in those intervals. Now we do it for 40 minutes.
Right, yeah.
That's not doing us the same service.
4 days a week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what we're doing is we're doing the opposite now. We're taxing our immune system by over-exercising versus letting the exercise build our immune system.
Yeah.
And cardio is life. Everybody should be doing cardio, but that means you stay in an aerobic state where you're not winded all the time. That you can still have a conversation, but you've got your heart rate up. You can do that endlessly, and that is the most important thing to do.
Yeah.
The interval training should be on a minimal level because you're taxing the body so much that the body goes into overdrive and starts building the white blood cell counts and everything else. It's not supposed to do that for long periods of time because you're actually taxing the body when you do that.
Yeah.
But we've gotten such a rush in our heads that more is always better, right? More supplements, more drugs, more exercise, more dieting is always better. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not. That's not how the body's designed. We've completely lost our way.
Yeah, yeah. I think people are also looking for answers outside of themselves. Right?
Yes.
It's like the moment they feel that vulnerability or that pain or discomfort, it's like, fix me, help me. Yeah, seeking somebody else.
I know for myself, going to exercise class, I find it really interesting because I don't know how many times I've been in the class and I've had women my age come up to me after and say, "You're not doing what the teacher's doing."
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Because they're so afraid that they don't know their bodies enough to modify on their own and do what doesn't hurt them. You know, I had one woman come up, she had 4 fusions in her back and she's doing all these twisting, turning exercises and she's complaining about being pain all the time. I said, you can't do those.
Yeah, yeah.
You should not be doing those.
Yeah.
Why? I need to rotate. I go, but you have so many segments of your spine that won't, so you're taxing the other vertebrae so much. And this woman was a trainer.
Yeah, yeah.
And she doesn't understand the body and she feels like she has to do those exercises or she won't be fit. Where in there are you listening to your body?
Yeah.
You know, exercises are life. She learned exercise, but she didn't learn her body with the exercise. Because there is no one size fits all for anybody ever.
Yeah. No.
You can take the information, but then you've got to make it yours.
Yeah. I think that's tough in the exercise world and healthcare world. There's all these messages that we receive that is like even studies, you know, you're sharing a study that supports one thing, but it doesn't mean that's going to be the best for you.
Right. And that's why the Awaken Wellness, because we need to wake up and create a better form of wellness for ourselves because the wellness we have is not working.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not working.
No.
I mean, to see the weight loss drugs now, it's not working. If it were working, we wouldn't have the push on those so much now, and the ER is being backed up and all those things.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
So hopefully the Awaken Wellness movement will start to bring more solid information. I'm never going to be 100% right. I'm just going to tell you from experience and what I've seen work and whatnot, but I'm always going to bring it back to the person listening to their bodies because that is the only answer.
Yeah, yeah.
I can give you the tools to try. I can give you ways to understand yourself, but unless you're listening, it's never going to work.
Yeah.
You're only fooling yourself.
Yeah.
And it doesn't hurt me any.
Yeah, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I think there's an old saying about that. Fool me once, shame on you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or shame on me. Fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice. No. Other way.
Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me, or something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it's a matter of everybody wants to blame somebody.
Yeah.
Whether it's their metabolism, whether it's menopause, whether it's anything else.
Yeah.
But I think the biggest mistake people make in menopause is the calorie deprivation and the overexercising.
Yeah.
And that shuts the metabolism, and then they can't lose the weight they want, and then it becomes a vicious cycle. They have to listen to their body and slow it down and stick to more aerobic work and get their calories up where they need to be so the hormonal system can balance, and then they can start letting go of the weight. But there's no way you can convince a woman in menopause who's getting a little belly to do that.
especially one who's leading a stressful lifestyle to begin with. Their exercise is making more stress. There's no way you're going to get her to
eat more calories. There's no way. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's craziness.
Yeah.
But you have to feed your body the amount of calories it needs to run in an actual day, not in a deficit, and then let your exercise be the deficit. And that is the healthiest diet possible.
Yeah. Yeah.
Calorie deficits are not it, because you don't even have enough. If you want to do all this healing work and read your body and do your own tissue work and break up scar tissue and start reversing the damage that's been done over time, where's that energy come from if you're already in a calorie deficit and you're already...
Right.
Yeah, you're exercising. So now your body doesn't have any, because the energy it takes to realign tissue and all those things, it's very costly. So you need the nutrition to back that up. And that's how I know if somebody's on the right path or not. If they're on my table and they're changing every time they come in and it's different, and their body's always moving up a level and they're healing, I know they're doing the right things. If not, I'll say, what's your nutrition look like? And every single time they're either on a diet or they're not eating right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because the body doesn't have the energy to give.
Yeah.
So even with any type of illness that you have, whether it's chronic pain, cancer, Parkinson's, you want to have the nutrition so your body can run itself and then take that extra nutrition and heal it.
Yeah. Yeah. Makes sense.
It's just how the body works.
Yeah.
So we got to go back to really listening. That's the key.
Yeah.
But when that chocolate cake's in front of you,
yeah.
and I'm not saying you shouldn't have chocolate cake. I'm just saying, how often should you have the chocolate cake?
Yeah. That's what I tell people. I say, if you're going to indulge, pick a time, pick a place, pick your indulgement, and really savor it and enjoy it.
It's a lot of behavior patterns. I've had a lot of the older men of my husband's generation. Eating out was a big deal. It was like once a year if you got to. So when you did, it was like the drinks, the appetizer, the meal, the dessert. And now that people are doing it 3 times a week, they still think that it's supposed to be that way.
Right, yeah.
And they don't realize what they're doing to themselves, because it started so long ago that it was such a big deal. So now when you sit in a restaurant, you got to do that.
Yeah.
But you're not going to just order the salad and have a meal and talk to your friends. You got to have the experience.
Or if you look in history, like the royals that did eat that way on the regular basis, they all had heart disease. They all had like swollen legs and weeping ulcers and
exactly.
Yeah.
But a lot of it is programmed behavior, what you believe life to be.
Just because something is the norm doesn't mean it's normal for us. For our genetics,
I've gotten a lot of grief through the holidays in this house when I try to change Thanksgiving or something like that.
Right.
Yeah, because it has to be. Why?
Yeah.
Why? Who said so? I don't really like that. What if I want this? And people get so programmed that you got to have these things.
And before we can change any of our habits, any of our lifestyle, we have to change our view.
We have to change our view, because that's where it all comes from. Yeah.